Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Colleen. I am with Shine On Yoga. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Today I have a nice little practice. It's not going to be too strenuous, but we are going to work on just stretching everything out. There'll be a couple of strengthening moves, a little bit of balance just to help with focus. But otherwise, it's going to be a pretty chill practice. I have Samson here coming to say hello, and Fritz. So if you have pets or kids, they're more than welcome to join. You won't need too many props, if any, but if you'd like to use some props, I would recommend are blocks, blankets, maybe bolsters. If you don't have any of those things, don't worry about it. You don't necessarily need them. All right, come on guys. Come on, you gotta move. So today we're gonna start out just lying down flat on our mats. So you can make your way down to your mat or floor. I'm gonna move Sam here. And then we're just gonna stretch out long on our mat and take a moment just to rest and to breathe. If it feels safe, you can close down the eyes. But just take a moment here to set your pin. Letting go of the day thus far. Letting go of any holiday stress. It is pre-Thanksgiving, or I guess it is Thanksgiving Eve. That'll all still be there for you after the practice. So just let it go for now. Let go of that to-do list. Take one more big inhale. And then exhale, let it go. All right, when you're ready, you can bring one foot to the mat, keep the knee bent, and then the other. And once you have both knees up, we'll go ahead and bring our knees in towards our chest. Give yourself a nice big hug here. Nice little stretch in the front of our thighs. You can even rock side to side on your back and get a little massage on the spine. We'll just take a few breaths here. All right, we're going to make our way up to a nice comfortable seat. So you can either just come to your seat however is accessible to you. Otherwise, if you want to play a little bit, you can bring your hands behind your knees and we're just going to rock up and down the length of the spine. Just a few times, a little rolling like a ball, just back and forth. It's a nice little spine massage. And when you've had enough of that, you can go ahead and come into a nice cross-legged seat. Take a few breaths. All right, when you're ready, we're going to start to twist it out. We're going to get moving here. So you can take your left hand to your right knee. Right fingers are going to spin around behind you. On an inhale, you can sit up nice and straight and tall. On the exhale, go ahead and journey into that twist, turning to look over towards that left edge of your mat. Inhale, maybe sit up a little bit taller. Exhale, maybe journey a little bit deeper into the twist. Take a few nice big inhales and exhales here. Let's take one more round. So one more big inhale. Exhale, let it go. And we'll return to center. Go ahead and take a couple breaths here. Just compare the sides, see what's different, what's the same. And when you're ready, we'll move to the other side. So I'm going to take my right hand over on my left knee. And when I'm putting it here, I'm really just putting it here. I'm not using it to turn and crank myself into that twist. It's just really there for support. We'll take our left fingers and bring them around behind us. Inhale, let's sit up nice and straight and tall. And then exhale, we'll journey into the twist on the opposite side, looking over towards the right. Again, as you inhale, maybe you can sit up a little bit taller. Then exhale, maybe journey a little bit further into that twist. Make sure that you're still breathing here. Take one more big inhale and exhale. And then we'll return to center. All right, let's go ahead and move to all fours. So, I'm just gonna back it up here a little bit. So we'll come to a nice tabletop position, knees underneath hip points, hands underneath your shoulders, spine nice and long, neck and head in line with the spine, and we're gonna move into a little spinal flexion. So some cat-cow. If you're familiar with cat-cow, you can take it away. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll go ahead and do it together. So on an inhale, we're going to drop the lower ribs, lift our tail, lift our head, lift our chest, look forward. We're going to feel a nice big stretch in our front body here. As we exhale, we're going to reverse that. We're going to tuck our tail, tuck our head, round through the spine, really press away from the mat, feeling that nice stretch through our back body. Inhale, we'll reverse it, coming back into our cow pose. Exhaling, we'll move back into our cat pose. Go ahead and do a few more rounds just on your own inhales and exhales. If you find a spot that feels good, go ahead and just stay in it and breathe there. And then finally, whenever you reach your next cat pose, go ahead after that and return to a nice tabletop position. Once you're here, we'll just walk our hands forward, one handprint, so they're not directly under our shoulders. And actually, before I do that, because we're going to be flowing a little bit, I'm going to take off my socks. It is cold here today. It's rainy and just yuck, so I put on some socks, but I'm going to take them off. If you have socks on, I would recommend that you do that just to avoid any injuries. All right, so we're back in our tabletop. Our hands are a little bit forward. We're going to go ahead and tuck our toes under. Take a nice inhale here. And then on the exhale, press away from the mat, lift the knees up off the mat. We're going to straighten through the legs. Let those heels grow heavy as we move into our first downward facing dog. Now, you can take your dog for a walk by bending one knee and then the other, feeling a nice big stretch through your calf muscles. Or you can just be in stillness, letting those heels grow heavy, letting your head be heavy, and just breathing. So yogi's choice. We're going to come back to downward facing dog a couple times, so you can even mix it up if you'd like. Take some nice big inhales and exhales here. And after your next exhale, go ahead and look forward at your hands. We're going to make our way up to the top of the mat. You can take little baby steps. You can take big steps, whatever you feel like. You're going to bring your feet behind your hands, slight bend in your knees. On your next inhale, go ahead and raise up halfway. Nice flat back. And then on your exhale, let it go into a nice forward fold. You can breathe here. Now your knees can be bent as generously as you'd like. Just make sure that you are not completely straightening them out. You want a little bit of a bend. And then if you want more of a bend, you can take that. The stretch will be felt more in the back rather than in the hamstrings. You can also, if you're finding it difficult to reach the floor, you can use blocks. And you can use those on different levels. So go ahead and choose whatever works for you. Let your head and neck go. Take a few nice big inhales and exhales here. This is another pose that we'll return to a few times. Let's take one more big inhale here. And then on your exhale, we'll slowly start to roll up through the spine, really press through those feet. And we'll just roll all the way up until we're standing. Once you're standing, you can loop your shoulders up, back, and down. We're going to come into a strong mountain pose. So feet nice and grounded on the mat, hands at your sides, standing up nice and straight and tall, and just taking a few breaths here. Something I also like to do just while we're standing here and breathing is I like to take my feet and just step them on the mat and then really feel my toes as they make contact with the mat. You can lift up your toes and try and press down just your pinky toe and then each individual toe, just for a little. And when I try and do it, I also do it in my hands instinctively. A lot of people do. But that can also help you feel really grounded if you're having a lot of anxiety or just a lot of racing thoughts. Doing it outside barefoot is great too, but it's cold here, so probably won't be doing that a whole lot. Otherwise, we're just going to stand here in our nice mountain pose, aren't we, Fritz? All right, on your next inhale, let's reach our arms up to the sky. And then we're going to grab our left wrist with our right hand. Take a nice big inhale here, and then on your exhale, go ahead and press your hips over to the left, lean over to the right. You're going to feel a nice big stretch in your left side body. Take some nice big breaths here. On your next inhale, go ahead and return. We're going to switch our hands, so left hand around the right wrist. Inhale, we'll stand up nice and straight and tall. Exhale, we'll cross that midline, leaning over towards the left, pressing our hips over to the right, feeling that nice big stretch in our right side body. Keep your chest lifted here. Make sure you're not collapsing. Breathe. One more big inhale. And exhale, we'll return to center. Go ahead and let your arms float down to your sides. If you're on the long edge of your mat like me, I'm going to return to the short edge so you can come with me. And from here, we're going to start to sit back like we're going to sit in a chair. So really press the weight in your heels. You can lift your toes up to really feel the weight in your heels too as you do this. So we're just going to sit back, sit back, sit back. And then your hands can be at heart center or you can reach them forward. We're going into a little chair pose here. Lengthen through your lower back. Breathe. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, let it go. Lift your hips up. We're going to come down into that forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, let it go. Take a few breaths here. All right, when you're ready, make sure your hands are planted firmly in the mat. We're going to step our left toes all the way back and come down onto that left knee. You might have to walk it back a little bit. We're coming into a low lunge here. Your toes can be tucked or they can be untucked on that left foot. Your right leg should be at a nice 90-degree angle here. Make sure you're not coming too far forward and that you're not too far back. In this low lunge position, you can also use blocks just to bring the ground up to you if you'd like. You can come interlace your hands on top of your thigh looking forward, or you can have your hands down at your mat. Just make sure your chest is nice and lifted. We're going to pull that right hip crease back, left hip crease forward, and just breathe here, feeling that nice stretch. Right, when you're ready, we're going to plant our left palm onto the mat. Go ahead and tuck those left toes under if they're not. We'll lift the left knee up off the mat, and then we're going to reach our right hand up to the sky, coming into a little twist. And we'll breathe here. If you'd like to lower that left knee, you can. Let's take one more big inhale here. And on the exhale, we'll float our right palm down to the mat. Go ahead and frame your right foot. We're going to step that right foot back to meet our left, and we're coming into our first plank of the day. So really press away from the mat. You can come to knees to come into a half plank. It's perfectly acceptable. Either way, make sure your hips aren't dipping too far down, and make sure they're not also lifting too far up. Nice straight line. You can look slightly ahead just to keep your neck in line with your spine. Breathe here, feel that shake. One more big inhale. And then exhale, we'll lower all the way down to the belly. You can release the top of the feet to the mat. Let your head rest on the mat. Take a nice big inhale here. All right, from here, let's place our hands underneath our shoulder points. Tuck those elbows into the sides. And on an inhale, we're just going to slightly look forward, lifting up. Little baby cobra here, just looking slightly ahead. Take a few breaths here. One more big inhale. And exhale, let it go. Forehead kisses the mat. When you're ready, I invite you to press yourself back up to all fours, and we're going to make our way back up into a downward facing dog. So I will meet you there. Take a few deep breaths in your downward facing dog. You can walk your dog like we did earlier, or you can just keep it still. Let's take one more big inhale here. Exhale, let it go. We'll look up at our hands. Let's make our way back up to the top of the mat. So again, you can take baby steps or little steps. Once you reach the top of your mat, slight bend in your knees. Inhale, we'll come up halfway flat back. Exhale, let it go. Forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. All right, when you're ready, make sure your hands are planted firmly on the mat. We'll step our right leg back this time and move into our low lunge on this side. And if you need to walk that right leg back, you can. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Just make sure that this left leg is in a nice 90-degree angle. We want to be nice to our knees. Pull that left hip crease back, right hip crease forward. Nice length through the spine. Don't forget to breathe. One more big inhale here. Exhale, let it go. We'll plant our right palm down to the mat. Again, you can keep your knee on the mat, your right knee on the mat, or you can lift it up. And then we'll lift our left arm up to the sky, coming into a twist. Breathe here. One more big inhale. And then exhale, we'll lower our left palm to the mat. Step our left foot back. This is our last plank pose, so make it your best one, or you can come to half plank. Breathe here. One more big inhale. And then exhale, we'll lower all the way down to the belly. And on your next inhale, you can rise into baby cobra, or if you'd like to grow your cobra, press through the hands and rise up a little taller. For a bigger cobra. If you do rise up into a bigger cobra, make sure you're not wearing your shoulders as earrings. Really pull those shoulder blades together, press your chest forward. And if you feel any crunchiness in your back, lower down a little bit. You don't have to come up as high. One more big inhale. Exhale, let it go. All right, we're gonna make our way back into downward facing dog. You can come through all fours like we did earlier, or I'm gonna show you another variation. So if you're coming with me, we're gonna take a nice big inhale. And on the exhale, we're gonna press through the hands. Our toes are tucked. We're gonna come up to the top of a plank. Inhale again, and then exhale, we'll lift our hips up and back. Let those heels grow heavy. We're in our downward facing dog. Take a few nice big breaths here. After your next exhale, we'll look up towards our hands. We're going to make our way back up to the top of the mat again. Once we reach the top of the mat, inhale, we'll come up halfway flat back. Exhale, let it go. Forward fold. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, we'll slowly roll it all the way back up into our mountain pose. Once you're there, you can make any adjustments that you'd like. If you'd like to come to the long edge of your mat, you can. Because after this little grounding moment, we're going to take some time to play with our balance and to help our focus. Thank you so much for the hearts, those of you on the live. I appreciate it. All right, we are going to balance. Don't let that scare you. If you are new to balancing postures or you don't really feel confident in your ability to balance, make sure you have a wall or just something sturdy that you could hold on to, like I would say a chair, but as long as the chair doesn't have wheels and things like that. Make sure it's a steady surface, that it's not going to roll away or fall out from under you. So just be aware. All right. The other point before we get into the balancing poses is I'm going to have you shift your weight to one side or the other. And when I say shift, I really mean shift and not dump. So you can dump all your weight to the side. You have the mom hip, got a kid. We don't want to do that. Instead, we just want to shift the weight over. So that standing leg is engaged, but it's still even. You're not just dumping everything over. All right, let's play. So let's shift our weight over to the right. And from here, let's just put our hands on our hips to start. We'll play with this later. We're going to take our left heel up. Keep your left toes on the mat for now. Now maybe you stay here, and that's perfectly fine. Your straight leg, your right leg, slight bend in the right knee. You don't want it completely locked out. If you feel good here and you want to go a little bit further, lift that left toe off the mat and bring that left thigh parallel to the floor. And then you'll just stand here and breathe. This is a one-legged mountain, one-legged Tadasana. If you have problems balancing, something that you can do is find a focal spot in front of you, maybe a little bit on the floor. Make sure it's not moving. That's super important. You don't want it to be moving. If it's moving, then you're going to be moving around with it. But find that focal point on the floor and just really focus on it. All right. If you're here with me and still breathing, perfect. If not, if you've fallen out of it, lift that leg back up. And then from here, we can move into our tree pose. So if your leg is up here lifted with, like me, you can bring that leg to the outer left side, and then you can just grab onto the ankle if you need to, and bring that leg to meet your inner right thigh. And you're gonna press those two things against each other. So my left foot is pressing against my right thigh, and it's bringing that energy up to the center, and that's helping me balance, in addition to focusing on things that aren't moving. I'm looking at myself here, and then I start moving. Now, if you are down here, you can just kind of butterfly that leg out to the side and keep your tree low. That's perfectly fine too. You can be here. Maybe you want to slide that foot up to the calf. You can stay right there too. Those are all fine. Those are all valid trees and real tree poses. The one thing that I would say not to do is do not press that leg up against your knee. We don't want to press against our joints. So I'm going to come back with you in tree. Let's talk about hands real quick. So hands can be at your waist if they've been here. You can bring them to prayer. Maybe you want some branches. And if you're here and you're like, I still need more of a challenge, look up. If you need another challenge on top of that, while you're looking up, close your eyes. And if you sway, sway with it. If you fall out of it, fall out of it. It's okay. Think about trees swaying in the wind. They move. We can move too. All right, let's do one more breath. And then exhale. Just let the foot fall down. If you fell out of it, don't beat yourself up. Let it go. Give everything a shake. We're going to move to the other side. And if you're trying and falling out of it and trying and falling out of it, that's okay. That's part of the practice. You won't get better unless you fail and keep trying, honestly. All right, let's shift our weight over to the left. We're going to try that one-legged mountain pose on the other side now. This is my worst side, so we'll see. I gave all the instructions on my good side. All right, maybe you just peel that heel off the floor. Maybe you lift that whole leg up. Make sure there's a slight bend in your left leg. Find your focal point, breathe. And again, you can choose whatever hand position here. I kind of just like hanging out here, honestly. Let's take one more breath. Then after that breath, let's move into our tree. If your foot's on the floor, you can do one of those lower variations of a tree pose. If you're up here, we'll just butterfly our leg out to the right. And then I heard somewhere once you're not supposed to grab your leg and put it there, but I do because I'm just going to. So if you have to, that's fine too. All right, and once you feel stable, you can pick your poison with your arms. They can stay where they're at. Prayer, grow some branches, look up, close your eyes, whatever you'd like to do. Breathe, sway, fall out of it, try again. One more big inhale here, and then exhale. Let's let it go. Give everything a nice shake. We're going to make our way back down, but we're going to do one nice big hip opener. Again, this is probably not going to be appropriate for everyone. Really listen to your body and be careful with this as you do this. If you can't do the full pose, if that's not in your body, if that is not right for you, don't press yourself into it. Just do one of the alternatives. We're going to start out small here. So we're going to go into a yogic squat, which is quite low. Let's kind of separate our feet out. So a little bit wider than hips distance. We don't want them directly under the hips. You want a wide base, but we're not coming into the splits or anything like that. So keep it kind of medium. Feet are going to turn out to either side. And then from here, we're just going to sink our center down. So we're just going to start sinking down. Now, as you come lower, you might need to adjust your feet, and that's fine. You kind of have to plan on doing that because you have to see where your hips are, where your legs are, and how you're feeling each day. So play with it, see where you're at. For some, this may be as far as you go, and that is perfectly okay. If this is your max, stay here. Do not press any further. If you want to go lower, we'll just continue lowering our center down towards the floor. And again, you might have to walk your feet in or out or whatever it feels like. If you get all the way down to the bottom, once you're here, you can bring your hands in prayer position, take your elbows to your inner legs, and you can press against each other again. Your legs are pressing against your arms are pressing against your legs. Again, we have that same power line that we did in tree pose. Chest nice and lifted. Breathe. And again, if you're not this low, that is okay. Go as low as is comfortable for you. Don't press yourself any further because you do want to avoid injuries. This is a nice big hip opener. This is where we're ending today. Let's take one more big inhale. Exhale, let it go. We're going to make our way into a nice seat. So what I like to do is just take one hand behind me, then the other, and then I can just lower down and come into my seat. If you need to come down into your seat a different way, feel free to. No shame at all. All right, once you are down on the floor, if you'd like to sit up on something, you're more than welcome to. If you would like to take a Shavasana, you can. I'm not going to today just because this is a little bit more of an active practice. But if you'd like to, feel free to, especially if you're watching the replay on YouTube. I did pull a card for today's practice, and I really like it. It has a really nice message. So today I pulled Squirrel Spirit, and its message is to believe in yourself. You have accumulated wisdom and experience and are surrounded by all you need. An abundance of resources is available to you through the generosity of spirit and all of your hard work. Squirrel Spirit shows up when you need reminding that the acorns you have gathered and stowed away have enormous potential to grow. So relax into knowing there is always enough, and you have what it takes to co-create the reality that you want to experience. Through diligent preparation, you have gained wisdom and strength. How much potential you have. Believe in yourself. Spirit believes in you and wants you to know that you have enough and that you are enough. Doesn't that truth make you feel safe and secure? It should, for you have every single thing that you need right now. And I think that is a great message to take into Thanksgiving tomorrow. If you celebrate it, then I hope you have a blessed day. For those of you that don't, I still hope you have a blessed day doing whatever it is that lights you up. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I will be back next week with a whole brand new practice. So if you like these, then you can join me on TikTok Live. I'm a little bit early today because my schedule's a little different due to the holiday. Normally I'm on about 4:30 Central Time. So it's usually a couple hours later. So anyone on the live, hi, if I haven't seen you before. And for those of you on the live, if you want to go back and watch this practice, if you came in later, I do have a YouTube channel called Shine on Yoga LLC. The link is in my bio. So you can always find me there. You can look back at any past practices. It is entirely free. So you can find me there and subscribe and get notified when I put the replays up. Again, thank you to everyone who joined. Thank you to those on the live for the hearts and the love and for sharing your time and your energy and your practice with me and with Fritz. We will see you guys next week. Have a great Thanksgiving. Namaste.